Are you thinking about moving to Ottawa? Curious how taxes might affect your finances? Well, in this video, I'll break down the essential tax information you need to know as an Ottawa resident, covering property taxes, sales taxes, and income tax, so you can understand your full tax responsibility, both living in Ottawa and owning a home in Ottawa. If we haven't met, my name is Liam Swords. I'm a local realtor right here in Ottawa, and I've been selling homes since 2002. Over the last 2+ decades, I've worked with hundreds of buyers, specifically relocating to the Ottawa area. And one key question they have is, what are the tax implications for me and my family? So ultimately, there are three forms of taxes. Number one, City of Ottawa property taxes. So what does this include? Well, essentially municipal services like public transit, emergency services, and infrastructure maintenance. So also known as roads, snow, garbage recycling, police, paramedic, and fire. That is all covered in your City of Ottawa property taxes. It works out to approximately 0.7% of the value of your property. So easy math on this is, say you have a $650,000 property, the annual property tax amount would be about $4,500. This calculation factors in a number of items, but for high level, it's based upon your linear road frontage and the location of where your property is. So say your property is on a 50-foot frontage by 100 feet deep, you're going to be paying property taxes on all of that road frontage. So if you have 100-foot by 100-foot, you're going to be paying more property tax than a property that's on a 50-foot by 100-foot. Because if you think of like that cost that the City of Ottawa has for maintaining the snow, the asphalt, the sidewalks, the curbs, all of that maintenance that the city has, obviously is going to cost them more if you have 100 feet frontage instead of a 50 feet frontage. There's obviously a lot more that goes into the calculation, but really high level, your linear road frontage and the actual location of your property are key determining factors that establish the dollar amount for your property taxes. You know, back in the day, we used to use 1% of the value of your property was the property tax amount. Now, as I shared, it's 0.7%. And, you know, some say, why has this changed? Well, it's because the prices have gone up so quickly in Ottawa post-COVID that the property tax amount, thankfully, hasn't moved up as quickly as the property price. So example I gave you of $650,000, you know, 1%, you'd be paying $6,500 in property tax, but it is only roughly 0.7%. So it works out to about $4,500 in property taxes. The second tax liability you would want to be cognizant of about is the sales tax. So Ontario levies a 13% HST, so harmonized sales tax, on most goods and services. So the 13% is broken up into 5% federally and 8% provincially. So 8 plus 5 equals your 13%. This is in line with most provinces, you know, most provinces around that sort of 13, 14, 15% sales tax. However, in Alberta, they only pay 5%. And that 5% is simply that GST, that federal tax. They do not have any provincial sales tax. There's a little bit on lodging, but for the most part, all they pay is 5% on the sales tax in Alberta. The third and final tax you'll want to be aware of as you consider relocating to Ottawa would be the income tax. And no one in Canada, or really anywhere in the world for that matter, is running from that. The government of Canada sets the federal income tax rate for individuals. Then each province and territory determine their own income tax. You have the federal tax, which doesn't matter what province you live in, you pay, and then you have to add the provincial income tax on that. Every province, as I say, is different, but for the interest, obviously, of this video, and we're talking about Ottawa, Ontario. So as you can see here in the table, the federal tax portion, and then I've added in this table here, the provincial tax amount. So as I shared, you add the federal amount plus the provincial amount will give you the total amount of income tax that you will be expected to remit to the government on an annual basis. So a few fun facts on this: Ontario is one of the lowest provincial income tax rates across the nation. And to no surprise, Quebec is the highest provincial income tax rate, capping out in Quebec at approximately 55% marginal tax rate for those making anywhere from $250,000 or above. Well, folks, that wraps up all of the tax information and responsibility you would have when living in Ottawa and owning a home in Ottawa. Navigating the tax landscape in Ottawa is an important step as you consider relocating to Ottawa from a budget perspective. This involves understanding property tax, sales tax, and then your income tax obligation. And by the way, if you're considering relocating to Ottawa and not sure where to start, click the link in the description below. Book a quick call with me. I will be able to save you time and money to make sure you are making the best quality decision as you look at relocating to Ottawa. And also, we have a risk-free program called Love It or Leave It. What this means is if we find you a home and you're not completely satisfied, we'll sell it for free in your first year in living there. I want to thank you for watching, and we'll catch you on the next video.